All right,
Alrighty.
I'm gonna go grab
See ya,
food.
Jesse.
Bye, y'all have fun.
Enjoy your next
Time.
panels.
Bye, friends.
Bye, guys.
I
Talk to everybody soon.
Bye-bye.
see it. Where the hell did he go? Okay, there he is.
Right.
Hi,
Gentlemen.
everyone.
Gentlemen we've seen, gentlemen we haven't seen.
I'm gonna go grab some coffee and
then there's Joe.
stretch and all that
Yeah.
good stuff.
Thank you.
Well,
I'll be back in a bit.
Start off by, if we could have each of you guys introduce yourself. I know some of you don't need any introduction, but for those that don't know you, introduce yourselves anyway. If you could, please. Let's start off with James, since you were here first.
Sure. I'm James. I run the YouTube channels Print and Play, which is 3D printing and Raspberry Pi and Arduino electronics, that type of stuff, as well as Print and Play Retrospective, which is a YouTube channel dedicated to mostly old computers, restoration, displaying what they can do. Most of the time it ends in gaming. And yeah, that's pretty much my thing. I'm mostly known on the 3D printing side for designing and 3D printing arcade cabinets and running the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air contest at formerly Earth and now 3D Printopia.
Awesome. Jason?
Hi, I'm Jason. I kind of go under the name of Pattern to Print. Been 3D printing over 10 years now. Kind of the main things, my first big thing was I did a big 3D printed grandfather clock a number of years ago. I do kind of basket patterns. I kind of do lithophane. I guess that's the thing I'm kind of probably most well known for. And yeah, I just kind of like doing kind of different stuff.
Thank you. Eric?
Hey, my name's Eric. I run a brand new engineering program that has no money. So we do all of it with 3D printing and Maker Tech. What I'm most known for probably in 3D printing is these guys. So
oh, your green screen's canceling that out.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the Hulk hand. So enable 3D printing.
Try to trick the camera by putting it in front of your hand.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's some good AI recognition. So I do 3D printed hands with Enable, and I also help them to research into other things like this is brand new. This is a foot. So we're starting to move into feet and partial prosthetics to give away to anybody that needs them.
Awesome. Chaos, welcome back.
Hi, how's it going? I was here earlier. Hopefully my mic's working this time. I'm Chaos.
Can you speak up?
Upload... Is it working? Hello?
Yeah, you're
check. My name's Chaos. I used to upload videos on YouTube for engineering with resin printing, putting resin to applications that people wouldn't expect to, like RC planes. So I designed and printed the world's first resin printed RC planes and helped pioneer to push the limits of the material engineering with resin printing in the early days with Soraya Tech.
Thank you. Nikki?
My company is Olive Frog Designs. Am I echoing at all?
Not at all.
No.
Okay, perfect. And I am currently zeroing in on making stationary products and tools to make stationary products. So fountain pens, little accessories like sample vial holders and things like that. I don't know if you can see that at all. It doesn't really look like much of anything. And like silicone molds to make raw materials to make fountain pens from, or whatever pens you're into, or anything else you want to turn on a lathe, that sort of thing.
Awesome. And Joe?
To be completely honest, now I feel a bit useless among all these people, because what I do is showcase what these people do on YouTube. So yeah, I'm Joe, 3D Maker Noob, for those who know me. I have been doing YouTube for a very long time. I've been on a bit of a hiatus for the past few months, taking care of myself, but hopefully very soon we'll start getting there again. I do lots of projects.
Steps.
Yes, baby steps. Funnily enough, one of the first projects I intend to finish is James's mini arcade. I had printed those parts a very long time ago. I have all the electronic parts, but I have this idea. I want to incorporate CNC and wood into that project. and I just need a space to set up the CNC. So then,
Are you gonna hate me if I tell you that that's something I've been working on behind the scenes too?
no, because at
No,
least
no.
I know that that I'm on. I have the right train of thought.
We should talk and see which parts you're targeting, because maybe I've hit some of the stuff that you're gonna hit along the way, and we can figure it out.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Awesome. So I think what differentiates this group from the 3D designers and the sculptors panel is you guys are doing I don't want to say practical, that's my thing, but you guys are doing more functional prints or concepts and ideas. You're doing obviously creative projects, but they're not necessarily decorative. I mean, I guess they can be, like the grandfather clock, or but you know what I mean. They're outside of the norm. It's not a traditional bust or a toy, or less of a sculpture, I think, and more of a CAD style. How have you all approached your learning curves? I mean, as you've gotten into your niche areas.
I think for me, it's been mostly brute force. So people say, "Oh, I wish I had your designing skill." Often to me, and I go, "It's just I don't stop until it works." It takes me a lot longer to do maybe than other people, but that's been my thing. Is that it's just a matter of sort of making your way through what you're trying to get done, and sometimes looking at what other people have done as well to accomplish the same stuff. But sometimes a lot of the design work comes down to stubbornness, that I'm going to make this work one way or the other.
Yeah, that I unfortunately I have the same mentality. I've on my sidelines, whenever I have some free time, I've been working on this project, which I'm hoping that at some point will end up in a crowdfunding campaign for collectors and miniature collectors, and it's one of those things that hasn't been done yet, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I'm going to do it one way or the other. So yeah, it's lots of late nights.
And I think Jason, you and Nikki are both like Chaos and Eric have gone more towards the engineering side with their stuff, but I think you two are more on the creative side. I know, Jason, I've known you for a decade probably now, or close to that. I think a lot of the stuff that you've shown and done over the years, nobody's done before, nobody thought about doing before. Did you come up with that on your own? Did you base it on techniques from other media, or?
I think before I got into 3D printing, I did a lot of scroll sawing, and so a lot of my stuff actually is just taking that and 3D printing it. In a way, I kind of view it as puzzles, because I think a lot of times with the scroll sawing, analog is a lot easier than digital, right? I mean, you just put a blade in, you cut it, you're done. If you want to 3D print it, you have to like somehow convert it into math or something else. And so I kind of view it as puzzles. And so, like, for example, one of the things you can do on a scroll saw is you can sort of do these spiral cuts, and you have your blade at an angle, and then and if you have it really precise, you can pop it up. And so 3D printing, then you have to kind of mentally think, okay, well, how do I calculate that angle? How do I, emulate a scroll saw blade, using math? And then, so once I kind of figure out, okay, like kind of replicate what I can do with that, then I go, okay, what can I do with 3D printing that you can't do on a scroll saw, So like, I kind of have this pattern, like this is kind of one of these pop-up things. And so I see it on the camera, and see it's flat, right? And then it's got these, it got handles, and then it pops up, and I'm gonna have camera issues, and it's just like a little spiral thing. And this is in Matter Hacker's quantum thing, so it's got like the dual color thing going on, and it just kind of snaps down, and it's just kind of a fun little thing. And so again, it's sort of like, but I don't think I can do that on a scroll saw. It's too complicated. The pattern's too complicated. So yeah, and when I first got into 3D printing, I actually had zero design background. I never used CAD, never anything. And I first tried to use Blender, and I know a lot of people with Blender, it just isn't my thing. And then I found OpenSCAD, And I really, until very recently, almost everything has been an OpenSCAD, just because that's just simply how my brain works. And I know most people's brains don't work that way, but it just is definitely my home. So anyways, so that's kind of how I, kind of started thinking about things. And, Nikki, I haven't seen you in years. You don't show up to Murph anymore. Every year I kind of hope you're showing up, and then I don't know, I'm sure you've got like a busy life now, but
Yeah, sorry, I fell down the fountain pen rabbit hole. So I don't know if you all are familiar with fountain pens. So to begin, I started off getting into CAD in school. I really liked it in high school, and then I pursued it more in college at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. And I pursued a degree called entertainment design, which went into not only CAD, but also some machining, a little bit of CNC, sculpting, mold making, casting, a little bit of graphic design, just whatever you could use to present your ideas and to help out like on a team to produce some sort of something production. And so since I gravitated more toward those technical classes like CAD and machining, I tended to, as a profession, be doing a lot of drafting, simply because I like I like to do a variety of things. And if you're going to be, say, a machinist somewhere, you have to really zero in on machining. You're not machining and drafting and designing and. So being a drafter allowed me to explore a few things, and then I can just do the hands-on stuff at home. And so at home, I got into 3D printing a lot, and that enabled me to do some 3D printing at work as well, managing a print farm of Stratasys machines for a company, and then converting, like kind of moving away from the Stratasys machines and moving into something a little bit more economical, let's say, than the Stratasys. We moved into the Lulz bots, and we looked at making our own, the whole nine. And so that's when I was really deep into the 3D printing and was going to all like the Murph and the IRF and all that jazz, because I really was into just designing the 3D printers and like building them, and or at least attempting to, and just kind of constantly iterating on them. And through all of this, I always keep a journal. Was a little bit of a stationary nerd. Then I found bullet journaling, and thus I found fountain pens. And so my focus switched from zeroing in on 3D printers all the time to using 3D printers to make fountain pens. And so I've been using the 3D printers that I already have to design a lot of the tools that I would use to make the fountain pens, and all like the raw materials, the molds, the forms for the molds, the whole nine.
Awesome. How about you two? I mean, do you both have engineering backgrounds, or is that something that you learned as you got into, for example, your planes or in your designs, or the enable and the prosthetics? Eric, was that, what's your background in engineering, biomechanics?
So yeah, my background was an applied physicist. And we had a student at the university that saw a story about a kid getting a Star Wars hand that was 3D printed, and she was like, I want to do that. And all the faculty were like, well, no, we don't want to do that. Who's the nerdiest guy here? And they sent her to me. And I was all in. I was like, oh yeah, let's make some 3D printed hands. So we started with Printerbot Wooden, one of those, and I just started teaching myself 3D printing. Apparently an applied physicist is an engineer that just doesn't want to make money. I've kind of learned that. So that's kind of what I do. And then I started getting to play with all these toys. So I got to learn 3D printing. And then I went from like 2 or 3 students that wanted to do research with me to about 50 to 60 every semester. So no longer a physicist, I'm now an engineer. And my whole lab is just maker stuff, and really dedicated towards these things, these 3D printed hands. How do we make them better? How do we improve them? So how do we make them look more realistic? So I've started to learn all the biomechanics, learning about linkages, learning about mechanical design, just teaching myself in my spare time, so that then I can teach the students and try to make a big difference in space, because there is a lot of work to do.
I think if school was like that when I was growing up, I'd have been much more into school than
You
I
might
was.
have finished.
Yes, I might have not dropped out when I was 15.
Yeah, so that's what I try to do, right? It should be fun, right? I want to make it fun and make a difference. If I can keep all my comic books at work, it makes my wife happier, and then I can use that for inspiration for all the devices.
There you
I can
go.
just hide all the cool stuff there. So.
It's weird. I don't know why. Like, this is not something that it should be so enforced when you're young. Like, when I was 11, 12 years old, I got my first RC car, and the first thought that came into my head was, how does this thing work? 24 hours, this RC car stayed intact until I tore it apart, and I got the DC motor out. And as soon as my brain sort of calculated that motor, battery, spinning action, all the things I could do with this. You know, so at 12 years old, I created this automated locking system for my door, which uses this phone card with specific holes in places. I use the small calculator, cut a slot, put metal ball joints, you know, in certain spots. So you have to put in the card in the slot for the door to open, like stuff like that. I couldn't care less about school. Like, I've always wanted to do stuff.
See, for me, I was a little bit different with that RC car. I didn't want to take it apart right away. I wanted to take it apart after I broke it. So I would start progressively trying to see how high I could jump it from before it break, you know, and then I'd end up driving it off the roof.
So what you're saying is Joe's lasted 24 hours and yours lasted like less than 8.
See, I would be the kid that's afraid to break it, and so I would be all precious about it, you know, like, oh no, I won't get another one.
It's funny because the first time that my sister went abroad on her own, she went to the Netherlands, and she brought me back this Walkman, which was transparent. She got it for me transparent just so I don't have to open it, so I can see how it works inside.
You took it apart anyways, didn't you?
No, actually, no. It was my pride and joy. Like, I might still have it somewhere hidden.
My first Game Boy back in the early 90s met its fate at the idea that I went to see how it worked on the inside, and without proper understanding of voltages, I applied voltages where they shouldn't have been, and that was pretty much the end of that.
Oh my god, you just flashback, because you know, DC motor and battery, like, battery runs out, but if you plug it directly into the socket, should work.
That's
oh man, I don't know how I'm not dead yet.
That's literally what happened to my Game Boy. I applied 120 volts AC to something that was meant to take
240 volts here.
Since your mic wasn't working.
What, sorry?
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, since your mic wasn't working earlier, Chaos, how did you get into your, you know, your engineering stuff?
Like, same as everyone here. You know, like, I've been into engineering and like just mechanical stuff from a young age. Like, my toys never lasted long. If it had any kind of mechanical component, that thing was apart, I wanted to see how it worked, what was going on inside it. And yeah, when I left high school, because there just wasn't enough to keep me engaged there for the things that I wanted to learn. And what I wanted to learn was, you know, design, mechanical engineering, aerospace, you name it. And it wasn't until at least into my early 20s that I realized what I needed to focus on in order to achieve those goals. And like Nikki, it was getting into drafting and learning how to get what's in your head in a format that then becomes useful in the real world. And that's CAD design, drafting, 3D modeling, learning these skills that then also allow you to branch out into all the other things that you learn, like CNC, material science, material engineering, all these things that we need in order to make stuff in the real world. So yeah, and then I was very fortunate. I wanted to get into 3D printing a lot, but it's very difficult here in Australia because of the humidity. So FDM printers, they don't work very well where I live. You'll be lucky if you get 20 minutes out of a roll before the plastic's buggered. But I was lucky enough to get in on with the resin printing when that started happening. And Soriatech and Piopli sort of partnered with me at the beginning to start prototyping my projects for the RC printed planes. So I printed the first flying resin printed planes in the world.
Wow. Yeah, Mark from PO Poly and Serrated Tech is really good at supporting
Yeah.
talent as it's coming out.
Those guys are incredible. So yeah, they helped me out with the price of the Piopli Phenom. So that was a big resin printer for me to get started on. And then Serrated Tech, I worked with them. They supply me with resin, and I'd give them feedback on what was possible with the resin at the time, with the resolution of the screens back then. Because back then, you could only go down to about 0.5 millimeter in the wall thickness of resin before the mechanical forces of the lift action would actually destroy the wall. So for some, like for prop making and figures and models and stuff, yeah, you could print really fine details. But if you actually wanted to print something that was lightweight and strong, you had to play this dance between the size and thickness of the materials and how you design your internal lattice structures. You couldn't just do it like everyone else was doing with FDM RC planes. That was already a really well understood system on how you design the internal structure of these wings and stuff. But there was nothing like that for resin.
Yeah, we broached that a little bit earlier with the printer maker group. The differences between like the Phenom that just does a vertical lift and relies on brute force more or less, or a push and release to break that suction, versus things like the SL1S at the lower cost spectrum, or the Form and the others that do a mechanical tilt to break that suction. You can
they still have to deal with that initial suction release even with the tilt.
Yeah.
You've got a full planar surface that's that even if you go just from one side or you do the whole thing, that suction force is the same either way.
Oh yes.
Mechanically, if you do the math on it, that initial pull, it's the same suction force. So it all comes down to how you orient the model, how you design the structure, how you hollow it, how you support it. And you actually have to think like through time, because printing is a process through time, not just in 3D space. So you have to think at what point in time where the suction forces are on the model, how will it affect these very thin, delicate structures? Will it shift at all? And then you get a layer shift, or, these are all things that you have to consider when you're going through it. And in the early days, it was very poorly understood, the science and mechanics behind resin printing. There was a lot of misinformation going around. So it was very difficult early on to prototype the initial structures and wings and to get an idea of how is this possible. And at the end of it, I discovered that not only initially resin is pretty much on par with PLA for density and weight, but then when you just figure out that you can mix certain resins to get certain strength properties, you can actually get a higher strength to weight ratio in density than PLA. And then on top of that, because you have more flexibility in the design and the structure, you can actually reduce the overall material used in the structure versus how you would have to do it in FDM because of the constraints of FDM printing. So at the end of the day, you end up with a structures that is lighter, stronger, and it prints quicker. So it kind of just, it flew in the face of the conception everyone had that resin was fragile, it was heavy, and it took too long to print. And at the end of it, I'd printed and flown an RC plane that broke all of those conceptions.
That's awesome. Joe, you're looking and staring at something there.
I'm staring at you, actually. Camera, you.
I think he's watching Formula One.
No. That's actually at 6 a.m. It's in 5.5 hours.
They
So
can keep
4
the,
hours. 4 hours after this stream ends. So chances are I'll probably stay awake. But yeah, no Formula One tonight.
I could go for a Goshen breakfast right now.
Don't get me started on. Don't. Let's not talk about food. This is, although I do make food sometimes.
Wow.
Okay, it's dinner time for some of us, so let's talk about food. Food's good.
I mean, we can talk about food. Like I just made trifle, so there.
Hubby's making pork, green beans, and biscuits, so I'm thrilled.
Anybody getting a
Technically
cocoa
breakfast
press?
time, yeah.
Oh.
Well, Ellie was on earlier on, and she was
Yeah.
talking about it, and she will be on later on this evening too.
Yeah,
In
about
2
4 hours, I
Yep.
think.
Let's print some
I
Um,
drugs.
lost all concept of time, so it's like at some point.
Eric, you mentioned you guys are moving into the PEDs next, the feet.
Yeah. That's
Um,
brand new. That's like this week.
Is that are you guys targeting like ankle down, knee down, or
So one of the dreams is to get the knee.
Okay.
So right now there's not a good knee solution. As we understand it, the people that we're working with in Africa, they really don't like the available options. There is a very low cost knee called the Jaipur knee out of India, and the prosthetists in Africa, they just do not like it. So we got to redesign a knee
Wow.
and figure out some good technologies to do that. Interesting, the chaos brought up the problems with high humidity environments and printing with FDM, because I think we run into that in some of the countries that are trying to print these hands. So we're starting to try to push towards, let's print some of our things in resin. Let's design our prosthetics to be made out of the resins and start teaching people resin printing instead of just FDM, because that's all it's been for a decade. So
would it almost be more economical to no, I understand with children, they're growing, and so you're constantly rescaling for them, but for adults that don't necessarily change, would it make more sense rather than reprinting new parts as they wear out to print the first one, size it, fit it, and then mold it, make a mold, and just be able to pour pour a resin?
Yeah. So we're exploring that with casting and with some of the like the Meiku form box thing, right? The vacuum sealing. Just trying to figure out how to do all of it with just 3D printing, so that you don't need a huge hardware facility, you don't need a giant CNC, you don't need the big fabrication centers. Apparently, prosthetics in the U.S. and in the regular world they're all made in like the same half dozen places. So if I need a prosthetic, I can't get one locally made. It's got to be done in. I think St. Louis is a big hub, and then you got to wait for it to be done. So why you don't need that with 3D printing, right?
And there's a list or a long wait for them.
Oh yeah. There's a company called Naked Prosthetics. I don't know if anybody's heard of them. They make some cool designs for partial hands, and that's one of the things that the Enable currently doesn't do very well that we're working on. And I just got. I don't want to say that I hit the jackpot, but I have a student now that's missing fingers. So this is his hand. We just printed it. So now I have a test case, and he wants to make the prosthetic himself. So I'm throwing all these things at him that prosthetists are like, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. And he's like, no, that's horrible. No, I don't want that. No, I don't want this. So he's telling me exactly what he wants, which is what got us into resin printing and trying to get resin started, because I think that's what we need for him. So we've got some nice little resin prints, very pretty and very quick. So this I think was like 40 minutes to print out all of these, and super smooth, super nice. And trying to get rid of strings and elastics. Anybody ever built an Enable hand?
I had started printing one, but didn't finish it.
We have done a couple, but it's been a while.
Yeah. I know Shane's done a few, and so lots of problems with them that we've identified. The elastic that you use, again, because of the humidity, it just kind of degrades within like a month. So we need to move away from elastics, move away from strings. So we're trying to do all mechanical and do linkages. So that's what we got. There's our first linkage based design. It's all links.
Wow. Have you guys worked with like DARPA or any of the The government agencies or the military agencies?
No, they're not they're not very friendly to other people.
Put it mildly.
I'm just-
I do live in DC, so I'm right near Walter Reed, and yeah, I just keep going right by them.
Yeah, I'm curious because DARPA seems like the perfect agency to partner with on this stuff because they're always on the forefront of this for the vets and you know, for military and 3D printers are going out in the field with military combat units now.
Yeah.
If I mean, I'm not going to say that you should be fitted for a prosthetic in the field, but if there is something, somebody loses a finger and they could be printed a temporary prosthetic to be able to get them functional until they're shipped back stateside or you know, to make their life a little bit easier, especially as they adapt to losing a ligament or a limb. That seems like something that would be up their alley to participate on.
Yeah, and I think we're getting to the point where we can start to do that because you need the right materials. So you need really, really soft. So I think some of these silicone resins, soft resins, TPU not so much. I've done a lot of TPU sockets for this kid, and he doesn't like them. So it's a challenge.
Have you considered composites? So something like an idea that I had a while ago for producing functional prosthetic parts that were stronger than what you would get from FDM or resin printing is actually to print with resin the mold sections for the knuckles, and then you actually use composites, either carbon fiber or fiberglass, lay it in there, and then once it's cured, you can press in bearings and assemble it with just available nuts and screws, and then you get a much stronger part that isn't prone to the deterioration from humidity and stuff like that.
Yeah, so with me myself, I'd happily do that. With Enable, their goal is to minimize any external hardware and make it easy as possible. They want you to be able to pop everything off the printer, snap it all together, and there you go. So that it's really accessible and really easy for some guy in a village in Nigeria that has not much power. They can make it out of fishing line and a couple of bike parts and a 3D printer.
So is it only sort of you and your department that work on these projects, or do you outsource volunteering? So let's say people around the world who want to try and help you find a solution to a challenge that you're facing, and would that be possible?
Absolutely. So I think it's in the YouTube chat, but there's a website link to Enabling the Future. Enable, it's a group. I'm just one of them. I'm at IRF every year, and that's how I met Shane.
I think I met you last year.
Yeah, probably. I'm there every year, and I'm just the one that's closest to Baltimore. So I'm one of about, I think there's 10,000 volunteers. Some much better than me. Actually, most much better than me. I'm just the closest. And
he's being very humble right now.
we just try to design stuff. So we have that's what we really need. We need more designers. We have a lot of people that want to print, but we've actually met that need. We have more devices than recipients because we don't have devices that can meet this need. People that have something that's partial. So we need people that can do that design work and want to do creative solutions, right? Chaos. I think, if you want to put the hardware in, go for it.
This goes back to what Jason said before when he said, I think it was Jason said, or was it the other panel, that your brain doesn't work that way in terms of CAD. Like, for example, OpenSCAD, my brain doesn't work like that. Like I need, when I think, okay, I need a part, the way I go about it is I imagine what the part looks like in my head, and then I reverse engineer it in my head so that I can create it in CAD. Now, bearing in mind, I only started CAD when I started my YouTube channel. I had no idea of CAD whatsoever. I mean, I like art, I like painting, I like drawing, I like the technical stuff. But Yeah, I mean, sometimes it requires someone outside, of the area to sort of think like maybe there's another way to go about that.
That's where we get very creative solutions. I think that's what we need. One of the hard parts is I'm pretty good at designing one-shot devices, so I can customize something to one person.
Yeah.
But we want this to scale up
Yeah.
because there's hundreds of thousands. So that's where I got to figure out, how do I make this one shot into a parametric design that will really scale nicely.
Yeah.
So I'm teaching myself that slowly.
Yeah.
It's a lot of slow, methodical work working with parametric.
Yeah.
It's like every step that you do, like you normally just design something, you go through, you put the dimensions in,
Yep.
you make the shape,
Yep.
you get it done. But
Yep.
with parametric, every step has to be a pointer to a table that goes, this is what this could be.
Yeah.
And then you have to it's almost like you have to design the whole thing all in one go in your head before you start, and know everything, so that as you go through, then you can do it step by step by step, so everything falls into place. Because if you don't, you get halfway through and you realize, oh no, this constraint is going to conflict with this constraint. I have to start again.
Yeah, usually that's how it goes with me. Like first, as I said, I think of the thing that I want, then I reverse engineer, then I do a quick draft, and I'm like, okay, I have it. Now, let's do the parametric part of it and start all over again.
Imagine doing that in SCAD, like Jason does that. It's not just, a parametric of a circle 100 millimeters. You have to think about where every single thing intersects and there's no visual component to it.
We have one brilliant designer that does that. He designs the hand entirely in OpenSCAD. I don't know how he does it. I think he's a wizard.
There's OpenSCAD, there's Rhino, Blender. I cannot. I tried, but I just can't. I just can't. Like my brain works in 3D, as in I need to sketch and extrude and then modify.
Polygons, yeah.
I cannot type and no, like that. No, I can't.
I'm the kind of guy that'll start off with blocks, and if I want to do a hand, I'll draw a block, and then I'll create another block and rotate it over a few degrees, draw another block, rotate it over, put some fillets or chamfers on it, and to try to, there's a knuckle there, let's insert a break. I can't think in terms of sketching or that manner. It's got to be broken down into individual visual shapes for me.
It's funny because when I left high school early, I went into pre-military training academy to go into the Navy. But I did all the testing and everything, but they said I was too young, so I had to go find something else to do. So after that, I went and got a chefing degree, and that didn't work out well. The hours are terrible, pay is terrible. Like that was a bad idea. And then I thought, okay, well, let me get into game design. I like games, I like 3D modeling. So I went and got a diploma in 3D animation and modeling. So I started off like learning Maya way back in the day.
Wow.
And then it wasn't until in my 20s when I decided I want to get into this 3D printing and design and manufacturing, because that was my true passion, that I actually sat down with a CAD software and learned how to use CAD. And I sat down with Autodesk Inventor, and for a week solid, like 18 hours a day, all I did was use Inventor and learn how to use it. And after that week, like now it's hard for me to go back to polygonal modeling with like Maya or Blender. Like it seems so much more clunky to me, whereas I can jump in Inventor and just pump out even just organic shapes as well, just with just a few simple constraints and parameters and lines, and then boom, I've got something like let me see if I can pop and share it up on the screen for you, if that's okay. I'll try not to move it because the bandwidth won't allow for me to rotate it because it is a 4K screen.
But even for organic, I can only use ZBrush. I need to imagine myself molding the clay, so. Oh, wow.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so this is all parametrically designed using constraints, and it's fully organic shape. And yeah, there we go. Zoom doesn't like it. It's too much on my bandwidth.
Nikki, I see your gears turning.
I was just looking, just first of all, just checking what program you were using too to do that. Because
That's
I know
exactly.
you mentioned a few.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was trying
yeah.
to look at the corner to see exactly.
Inventor,
what that
yeah.
is.
So I use Inventor at work myself. I used to use SolidWorks at my previous employer, and I use SolidWorks at home now too. But yeah, it's like you go back and forth between all these different CAD programs, and then you what happens is you put one down and you focus on one, you get real fluent in that. And then you have to go back to another. You're like, oh, dang, I forget how to do this very simple thing that I'm just trying to make a cube. Why is it taking me 30 minutes to make a cube? I used to do this every day.
That's actually one of the reasons why I love like OpenSCAD.
Mhm.
There's just a cursor, and it does exactly what you tell it to do. And that's why I get frustrated with these other CAD programs, is you have to do it the way they want to do it. Like, no,
Mhm.
I know exactly where I want this vertex to be, and I will tell you where to put it. I just, and I think that's why. And obviously, again, that's not how people think about things, but literally. So this is one of my baskets, right? So it's really going to be.
That's cool.
It really isn't good. Okay, so as you see, it's all it's woven. It's got rods. It's got things weaving through. So it was a lot of math. Literally every single vertex is calculated in OpenSCAD. Every single one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And because that's just because I couldn't get, how do you do constraints where you're getting something wrapping around a rod that's twisted? I mean, if you try to do this in Fusion 360, like it would just blow up,
Fusion 360 wouldn't be able to do it now. But
Right,
with like
exactly.
Inventor and SolidWorks, you can do those sort of things. It's just you have to know the tricks and like the sort of
Right.
like Nikki said, like if you move between the two and you get fluent with one or the other, so that certain applications like they'll have a workflow for doing something, and like I like to think of it like there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, or in CAD there's 1,000 ways to make a cylinder. And there's like you can use all the various tools that are available there to just create this one simple object, but they're all approached in completely different ways to create that shape. So like one of the exercises I like to do, like whenever I approach a new software, is I literally just try and make the same shape in as many different convoluted ways as possible to learn all the different tools that are available in that package.
And the way the software even does it in their native way. I mean, if you look at something like Fusion 360 or SolidWorks or any of the paid more expensive programs, if you want to draw a circle, you're going to get a circle, or a very, 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 very close representation of a circle. If you go pull into something like Tinkercad, the way behind the scenes it looks like it generates a circle is by drawing a 1 millimeter line and then mirroring it on a rotation, 360 times or whatever. You'll never get a perfect circle. I mean, it goes back to something Steve Jobs said years ago. I read this in his biography, that the reason that he built the first iMacs or the Apple computers where they made you use their monitors is that when you're programming a BASIC and you say draw a circle, you want it to be a circle. He wanted it to be a circle, and the only way for him to make it be a circle was for him to control the hardware. So he knew that every single display, a circle was going to be a circle. Whereas if I did draw a circle on my Commodore 64 and it was hooked up to my 24-inch RCA composite TV, my circle was going to look like that.
Different number of pixels, different pixel positions, and the hardware would just draw it different.
Yep, and the scan lines would be different and everything else. So it is, like you said, how many different ways to draw a circle or draw a sphere, or it's amazing that, I mean, mathematically, it's probably all the same. Code-wise, behind the scenes, it's probably all the same, but it's which method that they choose as their native way to generate it is interesting.
I'm gonna
Well,
jump in here
you've got
quick.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna pop off. Like I was saying earlier, I caught COVID while I was gone, and unfortunately, I'm getting the migraine that's going along with it. So I was hoping to stick it out, but I think that's as far as I can make it. But good to meet all of you and see all of you again. And
Take care of yourself, James.
Feel better.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
soon,
And we
man.
need to catch up and talk CNC with the arcade thingy.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Fire me a message on Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter. I refuse to call it X.
Awesome. It's
Take
Hey,
true.
care,
James, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'll talk
Take
to you
care,
guys
man.
Yeah, feel
Okay.
better.
Take care, James.
See you later, man.
later.
All right. One less bottle of beer on the wall.
Yeah. So yeah, back to
Is it like a
CAD.
Survivor game? We end up with only one person left at the end. Who's getting
The-
voted
wanna
off
keep
next?
playing
I was
game?
gonna say, one of the interesting things that I've noticed, now there's a bit of a trend with the model makers and guys online in the 3D printing community. There's a few more people shifting away from that prop making scene and the cosplay and stuff, and a lot more people trying to get into that design engineering side of things, and it's really great. And then they start using the CAD software and whatnot, and then they export their SDLs, and then what was a circle in CAD turns out to be this polygonal shape in the SDL. And it's like you were saying, is that language difference between the back end of it. There are settings in the export system to convert those parametric shapes to the polygonal designs for STLs. And if you don't change certain settings, then you end up with those polygonal shapes instead of a more smooth shape.
It breaks my brain when I find a model that I really like, you know, and I download it and I look at it and I'm like, why? This is Minecraft. It's not a bowl, it's Minecraft. It's like, why? But yeah,
A lot of the cases, it's literally the person just needed to go options and click a checkbox, and it would export at a higher resolution for the STL, and you get a smoother print quality.
I think the other thing is, like, for example, with ZBrush you have like millions of polygons, but then you have to like post-process it to sort of bring it down a bit. And I think with some people, they do that too much. So it just loses, like, it just loses everything, all kinds of detail. But now, Jason, you said something like you cannot do this in CAD. You showed that phase. And now my brain just wants to do that in CAD. And the reason why, like, I'm interested in trying that is because I've managed to do a rattan pot planter in Fusion 360. And as far as I know, I'm the only one that managed to do it in Fusion. Like, usually they use ZBrush, sculpting, stuff like that. But with me, it's if I can create something really complex like that in CAD, I know that I can probably do 90% of the things that are possible to do in CAD. But yeah, I want to try to do that in CAD now.
I want to assign my students to do it.
Yeah.
You fail
always
if you
the
don't do
big thing
this.
For me is you see something, you go, right, how do I make this? Like, your brain starts turning, and you're like, okay, what are the steps I need to go through to get to that shape in the least number of steps? And that's always the fun part for me.
So it's funny because my cousin is getting married next week, and they asked me to sculpt their wedding cake topper, which is a couple of skeletons, because they have this they love skeletons. So it's a skeleton couple, you know, like he's dipping her, giving her a kiss, and I sculpted it in ZBrush and everything. And I posted a photo of it on Twitter. And yesterday they came to pick it up, and they told me, like, there's this shop that does skeleton lampshades, you know, standing lampshades and stuff like that. But they're like 800 euros each. So it would be great if you could do one. And as soon as they said that, my brain was already thinking, like, we could use the post going through the spine at the back, you know, so then the rib cage goes through. And I literally blanked out. They kept on talking, and I just went into a completely different place. And my wife looked at me, she's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Sorry, I know how to do it. I know how to do it. I can do it for you." Like, literally 5 minutes. Yeah. It's the maker
My
brain.
problem is that I know, like, something can be done. Like, okay, it's gonna be done, but it's always harder than you think it is. But
Oh,
you've
of
already
course,
told
of course.
yourself it can be done. So you can't not do it
Yeah.
because that meant if you don't do it, you were wrong.
Yes, you can be wrong.
So
You're
you
never
have
wrong.
to do
That's
it.
No, that's it. Can't happen.
Or the worst is when you think it's more difficult than it is, and when after many tries, you have this aha moment, and then it turns out you only needed 3 steps to make it.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my God, why did I make this so difficult for myself?
Nikki, what drives your design? Is it based on feedback from customers and clients, or is it just, oh, I had an idea, it's in my brain, I've got to get it down?
Yeah, it's more so I've had an idea, and I just want to see it in my hand. I want to be holding this thing in my hand. So, just chasing it down, seeing it through, iterating on it. I was doing CAD drawings for the same model fountain pen. I must be on Rev 5 of this thing. And this is not like something I'm passing on to somebody else, these drawings to build, but I had to just actually make official drawings with revision numbers and all of these instructions as if I were to pass this thing on. Because if I'm sitting there machining something, I'm not going to remember what I was thinking when I was designing it. Like, how was I going to build that again? I don't know. I probably didn't even think it through. So if I don't write it down, I'll completely forget whatever I had in my head before when I was actually designing it. So
Now you're milling the pens, right? You're not 3D printing?
No, so what I'm doing is I'm machining the pens on a wood lathe.
Okay.
But what I use the 3D printer for is let's see, I make these silicone molds.
Oh.
And these silicone molds, they cast the raw material that the pen is made of. And that material, it's like this here. It's just a rod of plastic, basically colored plastic.
Okay.
So I'm casting those in the mold, and then where did I put?
So what are you putting in the mold?
What am I?
What goes in the mold?
So in the mold goes that it's liquid plastic.
Okay.
And then that hardens into that rod that I showed. And then once that hardens, I'll take that out of there and I will turn that on the lathe and drill it and all that jazz to make the fountain pens here. And then.
So you're pouring resin into the mold to make your own blanks and then,
yes.
And then machining it down.
Exactly. And let me see if I have one that's got a little bit. Okay, so here's one that
My throat is almost gone already. We're not even halfway through.
A nib in there.
Oh wow, that's pretty.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so it's a 3-piece pen, and I'll purchase the metal part, the nib, and then I'll purchase the ink that's here, or you can use a converter and put your own ink in there. And then, but this plastic part here, the grip section. Let's see if I can. Yeah, the grip section is one that I machine on the lathe, and so is the cap, and I put a frog on there because frogs are awesome.
How much time did you spend trying to figure out the process so that the marbling on the different components would sort of match together?
So
like you got a bit that screws in and getting it to like sort of as close as possible and still match what the original flow in the material was.
Right. So a lot of times, since I'm using a wood lathe, what it comes down to is the threads that you put into each part. So if you're using a single point thread, meaning basically when you thread this, when you screw these two parts together, they're always going to come together the same way, the same orientation. Then you can control how these things line up a lot easier. But really the best way to do that is on an engine lathe. And I don't have one of those. Those things are big money right there. So what I'm using is a triple start thread. So there are 3 different positions. When you screw this together, you can end up with this thing rotationally 3 different positions. So the swirl pattern may line up in one way, but then maybe I put it on the next time and it doesn't line up the same way, or the next time it doesn't line up the same way. Or maybe it's not even concentric. So like this pen is meant to be flush from body to cap. But since I'm using a wood lathe, I'm kind of I have to make some concessions. Like maybe it's not like if you run your finger across this thing, you might be able to feel a little bit of a catch because it's not as perfect and dead to nuts as an engine lathe would be. But I try to make sure that the pattern can kind of sort of line up and it's not like egregiously off. But
Yeah.
you just kind of have to, if you really want to be anal about it, you can kind of hide it by essentially having put a band of a dissimilar material in between them so that you can't tell that they're not exactly lined up, or you could do like a metal band or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can do little things like that just to kind of make the tools that you have work. But most folks who might buy a fountain pen are not quite that particular about it. And those who are, when they're looking at the pen and they see that it's, it's not lining up and that really bothers me, then they'll just move on. They won't buy,
Yeah.
and that's fine.
It's just that little extra step. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those folks are buying the $10,000 pens.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it is with these fountain pens, there comes a point where what you spend on it doesn't improve the writing experience. In fact, you might buy a pen for $1,000 or more, and it actually writes worse than a pen that you could have gotten for $30, but you're buying it for whatever aesthetics. It's gold plated. It washes your dishes for you or whatever,
So to align the
You're buying
design,
workmanship.
Yeah.
to align the design, couldn't you make the thread in a form of sleeve that then you can insert
Like adhese it in, like bond it in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
See,
I don't
once
know, like the
again,
walls-
I want to fix this.
Yeah. And so the trick is to get, so there's pens that are made from hardware kits where you don't even have to make the threads at all. You can just buy and it comes with the threads and you press it into these brass tubes onto some resin that you turned down. So you can do that sort of thing with something like that. But the reason that works out so well is because there's metal parts, and those metal parts are a lot stronger, even if they're turned down really thin, than these plastic parts are. So I'd have to turn some of this stuff down thinner than I'd be comfortable with in order to do a lot of like inserting separate parts into each other. But it's certainly worth looking into, though. I mean, it could work,
So you
Yeah.
basically have the thread of the back, let's call it the back of the pen, which
Yeah.
would be detachable. You screw it into the cover, then you sort of like, I don't know, adhesive or whatever. You
Yeah.
just slide it in, so then you can unscrew it and screw it back in. It's always in the same spot.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. Yeah, the solution that I came up with is to not have threads at all.
Yeah.
Is to just press fit, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Just
yeah.
press fit as much as possible. So so that can work between the body
Magnets
and
and
the
notches. There you go.
Speaking of press fit, as a nice segue there, we're a little behind on doing some of our giveaways for the viewers, and catching up with any of the donations that have came in while we've been chatting. So now that Shane is back, if he's ready to try to run that, we'll run those raffles and we'll see who wins. And
Like,
Okay.
I don't think we've had any
what if we get
donations
Shane
come
to
in, have we?
wake up?
I'm on stream at the moment.
What if
I'm
we get
sorry?
Shane to wake up? I'll throw another 25 for you to have those one of those hot thingies.
No. I took a break. No, I had to go because my stomach wanted to have a conversation with me, and it's not happy.
Aw.
Look, you sit
Aw.
there and take one of the extremely hot, whatever the hell that was, and rotten fish and combine it together. Okay, I don't see you doing anything. Oh, by the way, Krusty, you owe Fotis 2 of the jerky.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let's see.
I'm gonna need to get some water before I do that.
That's okay. We got time. You can go get your
Well,
water. I can run the raffle. You're fine.
Yeah, I would have been
Not
more than
getting out of
happy. You should have shipped me some of this stuff. I would have been more happy to join in.
Yeah, because I only went out to get my stuff
This is-
yesterday. He got his this morning.
This is like baby food for noob.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I used to
well,
clean my teeth with.
What?
okay.
That's what I used to clean my teeth with.
Yeah,
No.
it is pretty chunky actually.
Uh,
Let me I'll jump off and go and grab some water
yeah,
quick.
go get your water because you're gonna kill me. All right, so we are still sitting at $4,365.50, and Okay, so this is open to everyone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link, and what you guys can do is you have 5 minutes to fill out the form. It's basic shipping information, 1 entry per person, and we are giving out 1 5-pack roll of printed solid PLA, another fully loaded Revo kit with 1 Obsidian 0.6 nozzle, 1 Prusa Mini, and 1 120 milliliter bottle of Gloop. Now, all these are separate prizes. Printed solid is US only, and the rest international. Even our panelists are more than happy to fill it out, except for Noob. And what we'll
Wait,
do
Shane.
after is all the winners, they will enter into all the winners' names will be pulled into a grand prize. It's for a Mark IV with an enclosure. You do not have to be here for it. So there's a form. It's in the stream chat. Yes, you guys can fill that out and take your chances. And if I can sit there, I'm afraid to close any windows because it's like, no, I need that. No, I need that.
Next minute, stream goes down.
Shh. Don't do. You don't know my relationship with fate and destiny and all that stuff. If I think about it for half a second, it will happen. Close. Okay, we get rid of all these. And if you won previously, be cool, be nice. Try not to enter again. Give it a chance to someone else. Por favor. All right, where's that other thing? So I want to double check on the if anything new came in. No, not that.
I don't want to spoil the fun of all the jelly beans, but I
Ugh.
taught a class on movie science, and
Uh-huh.
Harry Potter was one of the movies. And one of the
Ugh.
things they wanted me to do constantly was eat the nasty jelly beans.
Yeah.
So I read up on them, and I know how to eat them without barfing. I
Why
don't know
didn't
if
you
you
tell
want to
me
know the
this
secret.
earlier? What's the secret?
The secret: hold your nose when you eat them,
Yeah.
and it won't taste. It won't taste like vomit or dog poop or whatever the flavor is. It'll just
Is
have the
dog poop?
consistency of a jelly bean. I don't know if dog poop is one of them. I don't remember what they all are.
No.
Yeah. So just
No,
hold
'cause,
your nose.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's all
Yeah, I'll do
olfactory.
that in a few hours because
Yeah.
I have this one because I got these over here and the flavors are written in Czech, so I don't know which ones are the right ones and which ones are the wrong ones. So yeah, that's the real gamble.
Ooh, yeah.
You
Just
get
hold your
another one of those
nose.
super spicy ones and hold your nose, see if that works.
No.
Don't know if it'll work on the spice. It works on the vomit and booger flavored and all of those.
Yeah,
That's how I,
well, I think I'll pass on it for now.
that's how I stole money from my students.
What?
Challenge them.
Okay,
No,
so I
no,
apologize.
never
We
do.
had a couple donations come in. We had La Chlan. I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names. I'm gonna butcher your name. $10. Thank you very much. Mitch. Hey Mitch, $12. Thank you very much. Okay. So let me check. Where's that one now? Okay, I need that one. Don't everyone talk at once. That's okay. Just calm
As
down.
Just
You guys are just going
letting
way too much.
we're letting you concentrate
I don't need to concentrate on this one.
because with old age, it becomes a bit more.
Yeah, but there's also a thing with old age calling
Whoa.
respect. It's called respect your
That's fine.
elders, okay? But see, here's the cool thing. You know what I can do? Shall I show you?
You can mute me.
I don't know if I want to know.
No, I can also
see this.
go, just see, now you can unmute.
I
You
stay
want to.
muted. So then I
That's
have
okay.
excuse.
Oh my god, that'd be such a. Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's okay.
Krusty
I'll-
has
I'll-
to put gloves on with this stuff.
You
Oh,
know, I'll
wow.
make up for it
Gosh.
next month when I'm next to you. So,
Great. Here another one.
and this time, my wife will be
Doctor?
there too. So,
Oh, that means Shane has to be nice.
oh yes,
I actually like your wife.
I know. So
His wife
you
is a
know,
sweetheart.
Her and-
you have
'cause
to
you think it's-
stick around.
It's not I have to stick on it. Just her and I will just team up and we'll just give you a hard time.
That's fine.
Okay.
So is it like that jerky? Is it covered in some sort of ghost pepper dust or something? That's why you have to wear
Scorpion
gloves?
powder.
Scorpion powder. Is that
Yeah.
worse than
Well,
ghost pepper?
it's marinated in it's coated in scorpion powder, but it's marinated in Carolina Reaper, ghost pepper, jalapeno, all the other fun stuff. It is it's not too bad except for the powder. Once the powder hits your saliva, it's like it just goes everywhere in your mouth.
Ah,
So there's a double-sized piece, Shane.
Okay. Go ahead. I stopped collecting responses from the forums. You can go ahead. I'm not going to deny anyone this. Wait. Hold on. I need to do the wait.
How do we know that's
Spotlight.
double piece? Like,
Spotlight for everyone. Yeah, I'd say that's about a double piece.
what
No,
constitutes a single
no
piece?
cheating. No, you're putting it past the front of your tongue. You're cheating.
It's right there.
Okay, good.
You have to smudge it on your lips first,
It got
throw it
all over
in.
my lips and in my mustache, and
and then you have to just
Rub
it in your
eyes a little bit.
that's why I'm wearing a glove.
ah.
Here's the worst part. Mm.
Swallowing it. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
You can see the
Yeah.
all over my tongue.
Is that
Mm.
water or milk?
Water.
Mm.
You don't want
great.
to. I think milk is a misconception because it curls when the spices hit the milk. It curls in your stomach.
Ah.
Do ice cream. At least it tastes good.
Chocolate.
Doesn't matter what happens afterwards.
Chocolate, okay.
All right, 1 second.
I
guys.
believe Thai people use cabbage, right?
Mhm.
Get some liquid nitrogen.
Because I've had some papaya salad, which was stupid hot, and then she brought me cabbage. I'm like, she's like, try it.
Huh, I wouldn't have expected papaya salad to be spicy.
Oh, it's ridiculously hot. Like,
Really?
ridiculously hot.
What is in that papaya salad?
Anything but
Curry powder.
papaya.
Ah, okay.
it's loads. They do loads of chili. I mean, it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious, but it's ridiculously hot.
Ooh.
If you take it from someone who's proper Thai, who does it the right way, it's gonna be really hot.
Ah,
All right, you guys ready?
Bottoms up. You saw me on
Okay.
focus, Shane.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
It's like very
All right.
minimum makeup.
And share screen and do this one. Hopefully.
I will try to.
All right. So I got
feel that in my
everyone's
ear.
usernames on. So this is going to be for the
But everybody
Jesse.
has the same on the makeup. It's true.
Da-na-na-na-na-na. Stephen Paul.
woo.
Yay.
Woo! Congratulations. You have 60 seconds to say hi.
What do you win? What do you win?
He won the 5-pack of Jesse PLA.
Nice.
Are you there? Or did you recently you filled out the form, you went up and fell asleep?
Dream delay.
No, I know. We figured, well, because before I set the stream up for 15 second delay, but then when I went back to the settings, it was set for a minute because the first one people were
Yeah,
like,
there he is.
no, thank you. Yay.
Hey, Ricky's back. And Stephen Pool's there.
Thank you. All right.
But Ricky, my lips are
And-
toast.
Oh, you baby. No, I'm just kidding. That stuff, it builds up over time and it's not fun. All right. So the next one is for an E3D fully loaded Revo kit with one Obsidian 0.6 nozzle, and away we go.
If Shane, if we can sort out the 3D gloop thing, because that's what I'm interested in. Just like,
So you're
I-
asking me to fix a raffle
no,
for
no,
charity.
no. Just just
All right,
sending positive thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's why I'm making sure to do it live.
Hey, Shannon, I think somebody's
So-
trying to get through the Stargate.
All right, so I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm gonna apologize, and if that's a name where I'm supposed to roll my R's, I can't. My brain will just go off. So,
Girl, Canada.
wait, shouldn't there be music? Da-na-na-na. Is that who I think it is? Could that possibly be? Are they around? Yep. So, whoops. Nope. Shit. Okay, I screwed that up. Hold on. So, Geek Girl, you won the Revo kit.
It's here.
And yep, I know. I saw them there. I'm just gonna mess the name up. All right. So, Troy Walker, you get a Zig Loop.
Ah, you messed that up, dude.
I didn't mess that up. I did it fair and square.
Joe, we'll talk about maybe a Gloop Maginoob swap later.
Okay, but we can definitely do that.
Probably use a
And
couple of
this one-
gallons of Maginoob
This next one is for the Prusa Mini.
with a roller.
Yes. Hey, it's Mike.
Mike,
Awesome.
is Mike back from his nap?
Well
I
done,
know
Mike.
he's here.
Okay.
Congratulations, all. We will have more raffles later on during this stream. Hold on, I need to stop and check something real quick. Okay. But I do believe that is, I'm trying to figure out what I've got. Wait, so if I got time before dinner to come by and say hey, otherwise might have to be after. Well, that is David Hewlett in chat, by the way. So that's why I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm kind of thrown off because I just want to answer him before anything. So David, we are going to be right now. We're with Creative Makers. They're on for the next 45 minutes, and then after that, there is another 2-hour panel on
Women of making panel.
women in making, and then after that, it is the Lego panel. So it's entirely up to you. I just wanted to make sure that you were. I thought you were in the waiting room. Like, okay. So, anyways,
I'd say come now. I'd say just
oh, why don't you just fanboy?
Get him in here.
I wanna fa-
okay. You just ignored all of us to read chat because you saw his name. Okay, so don't.
Because there's a
Don't.
certain reason
Okay?
why.
It
There's
doesn't
a
matter,
certain
okay?
there's a certain reason why. For those of you who were at the very first 1440, David was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do my best, but I can only do it for 5 minutes." He stayed for like 6 hours and was absolutely amazing. And I just wanted to make sure that he was taken care of. I'm sorry. Are you upset that I wasn't giving you direct attention? I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Like I mean,
It's
at the end
okay.
of the day, you carry my luggage when I come to Prague, so that's fine.
So you remember how to get from the airport to the hotel?
Yeah, that's well,
Yeah, I hope you
technically
do,
it's-
'cause
I
you're
don't,
doing it
but the Uber
solo.
driver does. So it's
Good.
okay.
That works for me.
No, but to
All
be
right.
fair,
Give me a sec,
Shane
I will
is
hop in.
always there.
Power up the Stargate.
Shane
guys,
is always there at the
Guys, hi. You might want to. Joe, you got your wish.
airport. Okay.
So let's see. It
It's
is
okay. So I was gonna
one
say, in Shane's defense, he really takes good care of me. He's always there at the airport when I go to Prague. So far, twice or 3 times this year, he's always there waiting for me. He's
So
always
after
there
twice or
giving.
3 times, you still need somebody to meet you at the airport?
I tell
Yes.
him he doesn't have to, but I understand why he does it, and I truly appreciate it. And it's always fun, you know. Just we have our routine. I get off the plane, we go have a beer outside, go have a chat for about an hour. At arrivals, we stay outside, like having a beer and a vape for about an hour and chat, and then we just head off. It's nice. It's nice. It's a really nice thing to do after a flight.
No, I
Good way
want
to
more.
decompress.
Keep going.
I'm just, buttering you up. Yeah.
That's okay.
He really wants that gloop.
Yes.
He's not getting the gloop.
I will get me gloop, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe some more
going to-
donations will help the Stargate open.
You know what we can
We're up to
do?
4,475 already. That's insane.
Right? Oh, someone did more then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who did more? Oh my God. Are you serious?
I was trying to error, so I'm gonna just wait.
Okay, so thank you very much, Eric, for the $100 donation. That was very nice of you. You are a true inspiration. I wish I could sit there and come up with something witty, but unfortunately, I have to deal with Noob, and he just sucks the very life out of me. So
See what I mean?
Oh,
See why I don't
man.
feel sorry for it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so it's
I'm sorry.
You might need to rebrand away from 3D Maker noob, though. You've been at this for a while,
To
right?
3D
Okay,
Maker.
so,
do
okay.
wait, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Hewlett will be joining us.
Hey.
I'm sorry, this is one of my
Yay.
highlights of the time. So there he is, the one, the
Hey.
only David
So,
Hewlett.
so do we call you David or
your mic
Mr.
is muted,
Hewlett?
so whenever you get a chance, just unmute the mic.
Look at you
There you go.
politely muting me before I get a chance to start.
No, it's not that. It's I've learned that not to bring people automatically in with a live mic because they don't
Yeah,
know
'cause
they're
you
being brought in.
Hear me swearing and cursing about not being able to use Zoom because I'm an old man. That's basically why.
That's okay. Hey, old man here too, so don't worry about it.
How are you all enjoying it?
Very much so.
This is great.
Good
This
to
is
have you
great.
here.
It's amazing.
It's a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. I sent out the tweet. I did a little chit chat with Barnacles, little tech talk stuff, and I've got to go out for dinner. But I wanted to come in and say hello and see how things were going, and win things. Basically, that's
Well, we're
I
happy
did
to have you
show-
back this time.
What
I
was
did
that?
show the.
We're happy to have you back this time.
Oh God, a pleasure, man. Anytime, you guys. I love this stuff.
Shane won't let you win anything, just so you know. I've tried.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just
It's like,
Well, let me see if I can pull up the photo again because I showed it a little while ago, and I was going to see if you were going to be around, but we can definitely wait till later. But I showed.
Oh, of the coins. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I think you had like embarrassing photos of me that you were gonna like ransom off or something. Let me slide-
Oh no, that ransom off. No, that's permanent blackmail. How else
if
do I
he
get you on
does
these
that,
shows?
if he does that, get in touch with me because I have some really good screen.
You got good
grabs
stuff
of
on him,
when he
good, yeah, yeah.
started. Yeah. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
him flossing. I have a gif of him flossing.
I
That's
don't need
okay,
that.
there's
I
already
have
a new-
him of. I have another one of him stripping. So yeah, I got some stuff.
I've got audio recordings of him
Photoshop.
snoring.
Oh God, yeah.
No, that
yeah.
wasn't me. That was
that would be me.
oh yeah, that's noob snoring. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard those.
Yeah, that
There's
was
got to be a
that was-
3D print for that. Isn't there? There's got to be like a 3D print mouth thing of some sort that you can use for that.
I
Yeah.
think I figured out. I've had my fair share of snoring accompanying humans around me, and I've come to the conclusion that the only solution to that is duct tape. Nose and mouth. that's the only thing that stops snoring.
Everyone swears by the CPAP thing, but I can't sleep with like an alien thing on my face. Like I just don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
My dad has
Jerry
one
seems
of
to love his.
Yeah.
I mean,
They-
he swears by it.
Yeah. All the friends of mine who use them are all like, "Oh my God, it's the best sleep you'll ever have." And I'm like, "Yeah, but look at you. Like, I can't, you know."
I-
You
they
look
have
like
to
Luke in a
sleep on
best
their
Packy
back. They
tank.
can't sleep on their sides with that, right?
I don't know. You must be able to sleep on your sides as well.
You can, yeah, you can.
Okay.
My dad's got
Who?
one. And it's
Okay,
like,
who here uses one? Who here's got one already?
My
Anyone?
dad's got one. My dad uses.
Oh,
it.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
My dad
I-
too.
Are there
Yeah.
any like? Can we start? Okay, so to promote CPAP, what we can do
Hmm.
is start designing
3D
the
printed
actual alien,
aesthetic.
like
yeah.
an add-on. You know, you can.
I wouldn't. I
add-ons.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
The sleep
Like
the
apnea
xenomorph.
companies, they'll come for you. The sleep
Like a
apnea companies, they'll come for you.
xenomorph cover.
Yes,
I,
exactly.
I would
it's
wear one
based.
with Xenomorph or
I would
Vader.
totally. Oh my
Yes,
God! In a
yes, Hugger.
second. Yeah.
That's here. You heard it here. That
Dude,
trademark. That's
Just
it.
gonna put it into
I would
this.
buy that. Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you just put your Spider-Man, yeah,
Ex-
exactly.
like,
perfect.
yes. Let's sleep like superheroes.
I don't know
Just
though, man. Like a
imagine it.
xenomorph, that'd be
What
freaking
that's like
awesome.
for your spouse.
Yeah.
Whoever's sleeping
Oh,
next
no.
to you, just
She'd
No,
prefer it to
you
my
gotta go-
snoring, I'm sure.
You gotta go the other way. Bane.
Oh
And
yeah,
You do the
Bane.
voice.
Mhm.
It does the voice if
What-
you snore.
and I have
no,
the
you don't
hair.
snore, but
I have
Nice.
the thing.
The
Yeah.
the Suicide Squad, the starfish with the eyeball.
oh yeah,
Suicide
that'd be
Squad
good too.
starfish.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Okay, can I buy a CPAP online quickly?
I kind of want to see that now. Yeah, yeah.
I really want to do this.
I'll
now.
bet you could probably, because keep in mind these are all for like old guys like me. They, most of them have real jobs, so they probably have some money. And I bet you they'd shell out to make their CPAP look a little more amusing for their spouse, or
Even like the old World War II gas mask.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah,
throw
yeah,
it there.
yeah. And it also works as a Doctor Who fan thing as well, right? Because there was that whole that episode with the creepy gas mask. There's a lot you could do. It's that the other one on my list is I want my Amazon to talk like Bane.
Ooh.
I want Bane to respond to me when I tell them to turn the lights off. I want him to talk about how he lives in darkness.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
well,
Yeah.
they used to do the sound packs when GPSs first came out.
Yeah.
it's Darth Vader. Yoda. Why don't they do that for smart homes?
Yeah.
Well, they've got Alexa has some of them. Sorry, wasn't talking to you.
But they have lousy ones. Do they have any good ones though? I thought they were all
They got-
just like
They got Samuel L. Jackson.
what for the
Yeah.
seriously?
Yeah, with the swearing and everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah,
That
wouldn't he
is
be
good.
like, turn your own damn lights off?
No, worse
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah, worse than that, but yeah.
I would go for that. Because I'm always customizing what it responds to just to try to get like a smile out of my family, And they're always just like dad jokes, nerd jokes,
I've gotten some inappropriate responses out of her a few times. I'm
Oh, nice.
avoiding saying the name, but like I take my 33-minute power nap every day. 33
What?
minutes, that's my sweet spot. 33 minutes at lunchtime. I'll eat really fast and then I'll go in.
Do you set an alarm or something?
Well, I use Alexa.
Oh, I see.
use
I see.
her.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So
Right,
I
got it,
told her
yeah.
one day, I said, Alexa, set a sleep timer from 33-minute sleep timer for Mia and I. Setting 33-minute timer for Mia to die.
Yeah. So we've had a few of those. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Have I lost it? That's it.
Nope, yeah,
No.
you're still there.
Nope.
No, it's just me being feeble. Never mind.
So last role I saw you in, David, was the was either the horror one where you were like
The rats.
digging in- yeah. Or it
Yeah.
was either that or the FBI narc agent. I forget which
Oh,
one that was.
Clarice.
Clarice.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
which was more recent, but
God, neither do I. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been weird because it's been a year of strikes and just all kind of weirdness. It sounds like there's not going to be much happening before January now, anyways. But they're starting to, things are creaking back into motion again, and
Has
getting-
that impacted you guys a lot filming
Oh,
up
yeah.
in Canada or?
Yeah, for sure. We're like, you know, what is the joke? Like, you know, if America catches a cold, we catch the flu or pneumonia. I mean, it's like
Oh, wow.
most of the big stuff that shoots here is all American stuff. So and that just literally just stopped, right? So there's still Canadian stuff. Like you could still do films, but you know, we don't have the kind of coin that the Americans have, you know. So
Right. Well, and if I remember correctly, your wife is industry also.
yeah, she's a producer. She's got a bunch of stuff she's working on now. She's smart though, that she's working on these co-pros, so she keeps getting to fly off to England and New Zealand and stuff.
Oh, nice.
She actually is trying to sign me up for like a convention, like one of these sci-fi conventions in New Zealand, so that I can help her with the flights and we can all go out, you know. I was like, great, you're whoring me out for, you know, for tickets to New Zealand. Wonderful. Yeah. But that's what I'm, you know. That's what I'm
If you ever happen to be in Malta for any shoots, like we have like huge studios here in Malta, just do let me know.
One of my favorite directors on Stargate is Maltese, a guy by the name of oh my God, come on. Mario Azzopardi.
Azzopardi, yes.
Amazing guy.
Yeah.
He was just one of these, like, he was a shouter, like a really good shouter, and you know, like you know, more blood, and like, you know, just
we get that from our mothers.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
More blood.
Yeah. But the best, I caught him once though, because I've been working with him he was on Kung Fu. I mean, he'd been around, he was like a fixture in Canadian American TV stuff. And he was doing the Stargate, and he just lost it about, we're taking too long, and did this, you know, and then he suddenly turned and picks up the phone and goes, hello, my darling sweet, how are you? And it's his daughter.
It's very Maltese.
Complete suck. And I was like, I caught him, and I've just never taken him seriously.
So with the Maltese, it's we speak a lot with our hands.
Yeah. A lot of that.
We're like the Italians. Like if you tie our hands behind our backs, we don't speak.
Yeah.
Like we can't. And that thing where it's aggressive and then really nice, that happens even with photos in Malta.
Yeah. Really?
So my wife gets like, she's frustrated with our daughter, you know, she's screaming and shouting. And all of a sudden I take the camera out to take a selfie, and she just goes, and as soon as you take the photos,
actors, then. Basically, they're all actors then, basically.
yes, pretty much.
Turn the camera on us. We're the most charming things on the planet. Turn them off. We're monsters. But yeah, Mario was fantastic. That's I'd love to go to. God, I'd love to go out there. No. What's the weather like there now?
It's still very hot. I'm actually sweating. It's about 23, 24 degrees Celsius at the moment. So we're still in t-shirts and shorts. It's funny because my wife was putting up the Christmas tree today in a shorts and a sports bra, and it's open windows. Like it's hot. Like it's still hot.
I could never get used to that in LA. I could never get used to sunshine and Christmas. It just doesn't. It
makes no sense. This year is very different though. It's still too warm. Like this is not normal.
26 really right now. I mean, it's 4:30 in the afternoon, 26 degrees here in LA.
No.
Wow. Yeah. We're you know, it's Toronto, so we're like, we bounce from minus 40 to plus 40, and you know, in Celsius, all the time. So we're in that weird time of the year now where you just have it's coming. We know that it's gonna dump snow and sleet and hell on us any moment, but it will always act surprised every year. Like, oh my God, it was just like last year. So
people forget how to drive within a year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I loved about LA. Is like if you get a light misting of rain and people drive off the road in panic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, although you're getting better at it now because you've had a few floods. You've had it all down there now.
So we had rain this morning as we were getting ready for the stream. When Shane and I were on pre-stream getting everything set up.
Yeah.
5 a.m. here, and it just starts dumping for about 30 minutes. And then, you know, it's still dark outside at 30 minutes. And then next thing you know, the sun comes up, it's blue skies, palm trees, and
yeah. And you can almost see the grass growing. Like it's like, oh yeah. Like, I miss LA. Where are you in LA? What part of LA?
I'm technically south of LA. I'm in Huntington Beach.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Orange County.
We were Santa Monica for years. Loved Santa Monica.
Yeah.
One of the few areas you could actually walk around, you know, I mean, you know, you'd probably still get killed, but you know, you could walk around in the process as
I
well.
mean, you can get killed with a joint in your hand there.
we just loved it, absolutely loved it. But we came back to Toronto for a film, to do a film, and my son went to school here, and he just I don't know, it's like he just found his place, and we sort of stuck with it, and I grew up here. I feel like Toronto's like a training city. It's got like a little bit of crime, a little bit of a subway, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. If you you could sort of, you get your training wheels, and then if you need to go to a real city later, you're sort of basically equipped for it. But I've got family here too, so we've been here for years.
Just want to send them to Quebec and they'll be okay.
Well, Quebec, he wants to go to Quebec, so he wants to go to university in Quebec, but they've just signed like some new law that says if you speak English and go to university, they're going to charge you an extra like 10 grand.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, maybe not Quebec. I'm not sure, you know. So yeah, because honestly, Montreal's one of my favorite cities in the country. I just came back from Paris, so I can't really say in the world. Because
Does that mean you get a discount of your French?
Yeah, I'm assuming that in a way you do.
I mean, you could see it that way. Like,
yeah,
there's a normal price, and then there's the French people price.
Yeah, there's like it's a weird. I guess it's the whatever the group is that got in is really big on, you know, protecting the French language. But I think it may be, yeah. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with it, because they're two of the big universities like Concordia and McGill there are English speaking universities. So I'm assuming they're going to take a hit on it, but who knows? We'll see. You know,
isn't that what France is for though?
I was like, yeah, you want French? Come on.
You want
Yeah.
French?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just got back from Paris, and oh my God. Oh, what a magnificent city.
Yeah.
Like loved it. I mean, and it's a nerd city. Like it's like I was in heaven. There are whole streets of of manga and video games and vintage stuff. And, you know, I'm like, oh my God, what's that building? They're like, oh, it's a grocery store. I'm like, oh, but it's fabulous. Like, it was just, such a tourist about it.
My wife gets really angry with me when we're talking to someone who's been to Paris, and I tell them I've been to Paris, and she goes, no, you haven't. I'm like, I've been to Paris. The story is that about 8 years ago, I went to New York, and I had a layover in Paris of 4 hours. So I got out of the airport, I got on a train, I went into Paris, I went to buy a croissant, I ran to the Eiffel Tower, I took a photo of the Eiffel Tower and a croissant in my hand. I ate it. I went back to the airport, and I tell everyone I've been to Paris.
You're done. You've done it all.
Proof.
Been there.
I have proof.
Done it all. Yeah, Paris, take it off the list. Done.
You haven't been to Paris? Like, yeah, I've asked. Yeah, I have photos.
I just have such a nice, like, it's a, you know, it could be like a rough city at times, but every experience I've had there has just been kind of magical. Like one of the first films I'd done was at the Paris Film Festival, and this wonderful mad woman who was a volunteer for this I don't know whether it was the film company or whatever, who took us around Paris. And, you know, I remember her like driving off the road onto the sidewalk to run into a building to like yell at some workers that this used to be an art gallery and now it's a condominium. And they're like, yeah, we just work here. But it's this wonderful mad sense of this Parisian, you know, love and protection of the city. But yeah, I just couldn't get over it. Man, that Napoleon guy, he got around, huh? There's a lot of
For a little guy, he really moved.
He really did. I kind of want to see the movie now, you know.
He was that was shot in Malta, actually. Parts of it
was that
shot
Malta?
in Malta. Yeah, it was shot in Malta.
Did you get any roles in it?
No, unfortunately not. So I became really good friends with Stargate Studios.
Oh yeah.
And when they were about to shoot Gladiator 2, I actually worked with Stargate Studios to 3D print some of the buildings in Valletta where they were going to do the set, of try and get them to start using 3D printed models to do the scale version, so they can see where they're going to shoot and everything. So yeah, like
for pre-visual type stuff.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And then CAD software came along.
Yeah. No, but they still go with CNC and styrofoam, and it's.
Are they still building them? They're still.
Yes. Yeah.
I just assumed that would
Yeah.
all be digital at this point.
No, they still build them. And
Really?
they do the CNC base in
Mhm.
large format, and then they just have those building.
Are you guys playing with CNC as well?
Me or everyone?
Or is
I have one. So I recently received one. The Onefinity, and I still have not set it up because I'm just so limited with space at the moment. So I'm hoping within a couple of months I'm going to have a nice big studio so I can do better videos and workspace. So
it's weird. I love it. I gotta say, like the
Yeah.
3D printing, there's something I keep adding things to the list. Like there are things you could just watch forever, like
Yeah.
the ocean or a fire or a baby. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're endlessly fascinating. I've added 3D printer to that because there's just something about the process there's still sort of a certain weird magic to it for me.
Yeah.
And the CNC I assumed would be easier because there just seemed to be less stuff to deal with.
No.
But my God, I
No.
feel like they're like at the dot matrix level of printers. Like
Yeah.
I feel like the software hasn't quite caught up with these magnificent machines. And the number of times I have plowed a perfectly good bit through
Yeah.
a piece of wood or plastic is a little bit shocking.
And if you manage to get your hands on a CNC mill that does like these heavy duty aluminum ones. Sorry.
Oh no,
I'm sorry, I'm European. Aluminium ones. Okay.
That's fine. That's good. I was born in England. I got it.
So I made my own. I bought this kind of like the equivalent of a Harbor Freight $700 CNC mill.
Yeah.
And I converted it, which now I have to reconvert using a Duet. And I did some parts for a custom chopper I was building, and you just sit there and watch, the shards of aluminium just flying, and it's just mesmerizing.
I'm
Like,
very.
Joe,
Oh,
what
what's
is this? What is this, Joe?
That's a software manual for.
Okay, what is this?
It's an SD card.
Say it again.
SD card.
Okay. You say SD card.
I didn't say
SD. It's an SD card.
SD card. Don't get me started on pizza. It's not pizza. Okay, it's pizza. Not pizza.
I'd get laughed out of the restaurant if I said that here.
Pizza. Yeah.
Pizza.
We're going to have Greek food tonight. That's our plan. I'm very much.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh man, we got I live in like Greek town in Toronto, and it's just, oh my God. It's just meat all the time. It's fabulous. I'll be dead by the time I'm 60, but it'll be worth it. Absolutely. The thing I'm curious to look at, have you guys heard about this? It's like a water jet CNC thing. That looked pretty neat to me.
It's
thought
awesome.
that is it. Have you played with it?
I've played with one once.
What's it called? Like a Wazzle or something?
It's a water jet.
Yeah.
It's a water jet CNC. It basically has like high pressure water with like abrasive particles inside.
Oh,
And
it's mixed. I didn't realize that.
It's literally like an inch of steel. It's nothing. It's like butter.
Cuts through it easily.
Yeah.
Really?
Is it using soda or sand?
I honestly don't know. I know it's mixed with a particle.
It depends.
I'm guessing there are different mediums. Yeah.
Yeah, there are different mediums. There's zircons, there's basic sand grits, quartzes, ruby, diamond. It all depends on the manufacturer's requirements for what they're cutting, what kind of surface finish they need on the edge. Different water jets, like especially the 5-axis ones that can actually cut at angles, so that you can get shapes out of it. They will require different mediums to go in with the water so that they can get cleaner cuts at different depths and stuff without the jet focus line moving too much. So it all depends.
Is it
Have you looked at? Sorry,
is it a consumable mix? Like, I mean, is it once it's used, is it done, or can you
filter
it and use it again?
Where they've got the tray for where they cut, there's a big water bath underneath.
Just recycles.
And where the jet cuts, that sand settles to the bottom, and they can scoop that back up and put it back in the hopper for it to run through the system again. So it is reusable.
What about all the metal particles though?
That is one of the issues that they have to deal with. But depending on what they're cutting, like you can have magnetic filter system that will pull the metal particles away, so that you can keep the sand. But if they're dealing with other materials that aren't magnetic, then your ratio of non-abrasive material to abrasive material that you're going through, you have to sort of replenish it over time. But yeah, it is pretty recyclable depending on what they're using. But have you seen wire EDM machining?
Oh God, yeah. Oh, I
That
was
stuff is
drooling over
nuts.
those. Yeah, those are insane. Like I can't get over how quick they are, and I mean they're cutting coins and stuff.
Well, not just coins, like I've seen them cut through like 10-foot blocks of steel.
Oh, really?
Cut
I guess I was looking at the desktop
entire
ones.
sections out, and it's like, and it all just comes down to on like the tension of that wire and the voltages and the temperatures they apply and the feed rate there, because they can't just have it still because the wire wears away as well, so they have to feed fresh wire through, and so
really?
the wire at the top is a different thickness to the wire once it gets to the bottom, because it's abraded. It's
But because it's been worn away, or it's
it's an electrolysis process. So it's like an electrode, an anode and a cathode. So one of them is wearing away the metal, but it is also getting worn away into the electrolyte, which is the liquid that it's in at the same time.
Right. Well, by then you could just get a plasma jet. Just get one of those. The plasma.
It's stuff like this why I will never be rich. Because I will spend every cent.
Too many toys.
It's just like, and the thing is, like, I don't know what to do with these things, but I want them.
Yeah, that's my problem as well. I don't think my wife will let me have anything that could burn the house down. I had to convince. I was telling her I don't think you can burn the house down with a 3D printer. I think we're okay.
I'm okay to buy anything at all, as long as I can make money with it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I should start trying to do that.
I've got this personal motto that I like to live by, and it's like, if I had the tools and the resources, I could make anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Because as long as I can design it and I can know the process for how to make it, and I had the machine and the resources, then I could make that thing. And that's like the motto that I've always tried to live by. Is like, and if I don't have the knowledge, the tool, or the resource, I kind of feel kind of anxious because it's a part of me that's missing somehow.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with YouTube, is I keep seeing things I can spend money on. I started wondering if, like, did I get into this or did they get me into this?
Yeah.
Because the
power of attraction.
Yeah. It's like tattoos. You get one 3D printer. You get at least a couple of 3D printers.
Yeah, exactly.
I've already got two. I got like this cute little Sane Smart CNC, which is kind of fun to play with. In fact, I've been doing. I think Shane was running off to look at the coin thing, but I've been because I try to make things as difficult as possible. I got these little coins done. I had a friend of mine who did this. We're at a dinner one day, and he says, "I want you to have this." And he hands me this coin, and it's just this little coin that he made for himself that he gives to friends and family and people that mean something to him. And I was so like, oh my God, you have a coin. And I was like, oh, when I grew up, I want a coin. And I ended up ordering a bunch of these Tech Bandit coins, and I wanted to have a little Stargate flavor. So I threw, there you go. Perfect. So I wanted a little Stargate flavor to them. But I also thought maybe how cool would it be if they were numbered? So I took this little CNC machine and I etch numbers on them and send them off to people. But to friends, I generally just give them blank. But for people who buy them and such, I'll etch a number on them. But my wife's like, I'm sure there's a faster way of doing this. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure there is, but it's just so much fun trying different ways of putting the numbers. Every number different, because I try something different every single time. So.
You need a fiber laser.
Yes.
I have one of those. I have a 20 watt, which is just it's more than enough for stuff like that.
And so you can etch on metal.
Yes. So the reason why I got it is because I am very good friends with someone who has an army surplus store here in Malta.
Yeah.
And he has some contracts with the Maltese police force and stuff like that. And when the government buys weapons from America, they only have a serial number on the barrel, I believe. But in EU, you also need to have a serial number on the on the magazine, on the receiver,
the gun
receiver,
every single part. So I actually end up doing the codes on all of them.
Oh wow! So you're etching them on with
Yes.
the fiber laser. Okay.
Just the
Are they
20 watts
expensive? Are
is
they-
more than enough.
And are they crazy expensive? What are they? Is this sacrilege? Am I allowed to be talking about other devices other than 3D printers? Am I okay? I
It's-
don't want to
we're
offend.
making
This is a
any 3D
maker
printers.
stream.
Yeah.
It's not a
Okay,
3D
good. Okay,
stream.
good.
Yeah,
I
you're
thought
fine.
that was.
You're fine.
I thought that was the case. I just wanted to make.
You
Sure.
could probably get something for around $1,000, something like that.
Oh, that's
for
not
a
bad.
20 watt.
Yeah, there's
and-
even, I've even seen a few of the fibers for like around the $500 point.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that
You
burn
don't
your
have
house
a lot
down.
of the safety
Yeah,
features on it.
that's what it looks like.
Don't. If you go to CloudRay, speak to Lightburn guys. They're very good friends. They're the ones that hooked me up with CloudRay, and they
Yeah.
gave me a really good deal on an end of stock machine, the end of run machine, and it's absolutely awesome. It's so
Well,
much
this
fun.
How?
tastes
What's sort of a?
dangerous.
How
So
big are they?
you basically have, I believe it's about 12 centimeters by 12 centimeters by 12 centimeters, like in terms of volume that you can do. So it's like little etches. It's not going to be huge.
Yeah, that's all I
Um,
need. Yeah.
But it's more than enough. It's more than enough.
Oh, that's cool. And they just look so cool. Work the
Yes,
way they,
yes, and
yeah.
the noise that now that's mesmerizing. Listening to the laser, it's
Yeah, it
it's
sings to you,
awesome.
doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, where you merge that with 3D printing
Oh,
is you design yourself a plate that you can
yeah,
set up in a line and you can put the pieces that you need
exactly.
to etch.
You just put the coins
Ah.
in their own slot,
Fine
so
there.
you don't never have to align them. It's there you
Yeah.
go. See,
I've
hand in
got-
hand.
Yeah, I've got this little. I've got it all sort of like little pieces of metal, so that I just put the coin in the right place. I never get it right.
Yeah.
Never. Like, yeah. And then every so often, for some reason, the CNC decides to suddenly rehome itself and try to put itself through a coin. That's generally how it works. So, but I get there's something about it. There's something kind of there's a weird. I don't know. Like, is it some kind of like silly macho thing or something? There's something about the metal. You're working even with a
Yes,
coin.
yes,
It just feels kind of like, yeah, I make fire. That kind of like it's kind of a weird macho thing that comes with cutting metal or etching metal or something. It's really fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Mastery over the elements.
yeah, that must.
I don't
You know,
think
I
it's exclusively macho, but yeah, definitely that feeling of mastery over the elements. Yeah,
There's something about it,
it's
isn't
a
there?
feeling.
Yeah.
Because I've done blacksmithing in the past for a little
Well,
while.
I'd love to try that.
And yeah, like learning that metal is actually soft. Like
Yeah,
getting that into your head when you start and like realizing that no, metal who you thought thought this was a hard thing, and you start working with it and you're like, no, this stuff is putty. Like this is not what I thought it was, and it behaves differently when you deal with it in different ways. Like that was a very opening experience for me for realizing that material science and material engineering is like it's a very wide ocean of knowledge to learn.
Yeah.
It's like a human, right? The more you beat it, the more you exercise it, the harder and tougher it gets.
Yeah.
I just break and shatter, but yeah.
I've learned that metal can be quite forgiving, actually, as a material to work with. Like it's okay to mess up. Yeah, exactly. I mean, just standard steel. Let's talk about standard steel. I can go as far as steel, and that's it. But yeah, as you mentioned, Chaos, I'm building a custom chopper. Like I'm converting an old motorcycle into a custom chopper, and I needed a part, like just a little part, which I couldn't find anywhere, and it was going to cost me an arm and a leg to get it done somewhere. So instead, I bought this CNC mill. I converted into a CNC. I bought a piece of billet aluminium. Sorry, I'm speaking to Americans, so I go to aluminum. And I did it myself. Like I'd rather do it myself. Like if anyone else can do it, so can I. Well,
and what's neat is then you find little markets too, right? You find little places, little tiny niches that you can use it for. What's the bike? What are you building?
So it's originally was a Honda Shadow Ace VT 750. It's a
I had a Honda Shadow 1200 way back.
It's a 96 model, but it's been converted. I converted with rear disc brakes, and it has the wide, beefy tire at the back.
Did it have the fluid? Does it have the fluid? Was it they had like some kind of fluid cam thing? The Honda did these weird system of fluid cams of some sort. on my Shadow. They had some odd.
No, not this one.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't
This may have
believe
been
the
later.
750.
Maybe later.
I don't believe the 750 does. But yeah, it's a 21-inch front rim. It's like it's a very long work in progress. It's been there for years. Like whenever I have some time, I just tinker with it.
It's like
One
Zen in
day-
the art of motorcycle maintenance. It's all about
Yeah.
yeah.
And you have to be
But-
in the mood to work on it, you know?
Right. Well, what's nice
Honda-
about them is, unlike cars, you don't need as much equipment, right? You can
Yeah,
you don't have to,
exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, building a Honda Davidson.
A Honda Davidson. Yeah, there you go.
Pretty much.
I had
That's what they
Ba-da-ba.
call them in Japan.
Yeah.
I had the K75, the BMW K75, and I love that inline, beautiful, you know, electric fuel injection back when that was a weird thing, shaft drive as well. But it was the most uncomfortable bike. Like it was designed to look and function beautifully, but not for humans. It was just
I had the
very upright.
GS 1200.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, yeah.
2014 GS 1200. No, it's the only bike I regret ever selling.
Right.
It's
Ooh,
just,
look at that.
ooh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Electric motorcycle that I designed.
Oh, that's nice.
See, all of a sudden, everything is meshing together here, like
That's
interests, CAD.
It
That
does,
is
you know,
awesome.
I worked with Jason a little while back, and he has the electric Harley Davidson, because people now just throw things at him. And it was gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. But it was so surprising because it doesn't, like, it looked like a Harley, but it was like this. It was just all batteries, and that's got to be fast too. Because this. Sorry, go ahead.
Is it the Harley Davidson? Is it the Volt? What's it called again? The electric one?
Yeah, what is it?
No,
Something like that, or
The Volt was like, wasn't that like the Ford? Wasn't that the, like, or the?
It was a Chevy Volt.
Chevy Volt. That's it.
oh
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
Chevy
no.
Volt.
That was the one with all the recalls.
Yeah. I am amazed that we haven't. I'd say, you know, the other one I've got to say that I drool over is that ridiculous 150, which doesn't make any sense in the city or for me. I don't know what I would be carting around, but man, it's like a 4-wheel electrical power plant. That thing just looks amazing.
the Ford,
the Lightning or whatever it's called. The
Lightning.
one, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess we got to go there eventually, right? I mean,
fun fact: the Ford F-150 barely fits on Maltese roads.
yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who has one, and he uses it maybe once a month to actually bring me lumber here.
Ha.
So he just uses it solely because I just drool over it.
That's the best way to go. To have someone else pay for it and then deliver the stuff.
Yeah,
It's probably
exactly.
way smarter. Yeah.
An F-450 wouldn't be able to park anywhere in this country.
Wow.
A
remember
450
having
or a 150?
The F-450 wouldn't be able to park anywhere. The F-150,
Is that the dually? Is that the one with the
Yes,
two wheels,
yeah.
whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The F-150 barely has room to pass through certain roads here. It's just
Wow.
it's too big.
There's
I-
that great scene in what was it? Was it I guess it was Mission Impossible, where they did the chase sequence and they've got the duo, whatever it is, the duo little tiny car, and then of course just watching the alley get smaller and smaller and smaller.
That's Malta.
Oh, is it? Okay, okay.
That's pretty much some villages in Malta.
Well, that's like England too. I mean, we rented a I guess it was a Jeep at one point for a holiday in Wales, and forget it. Like it was like you're just taking out trees on both sides as you go down. You know, so nothing stops my wife.
I think those kind of narrow pathways and alleyways are just common throughout like that side of the world, because we saw it a lot in Spain as well. When my dad and I moved there, we had to get a smaller car. My dad had no clue what to do with it because it was so much smaller than what we came from. It is
weird. I mean, when I look at England, because we talk about going back to England because my wife has a place there. And I mean, it fits in it's like a tiny little bottom of Ontario here. That's just just one province here. And yet they've got, their roads must just go like this, because I don't understand how it takes, more than an hour to get across.
I mean, if you look at Malta, it's probably a lake next to your house.
Right. Yeah. I forget that Canada's big. You know?
I think we're way overcrowded here with cars and the arterial roads, and it's construction, and it's just.
Well, I would argue that's everywhere. I don't go anywhere now that I don't
Ugh.
see the traffic isn't insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hence why motorcycles. Like I can't drive my car anymore.
no, hence why flying cars. That's what
Yeah,
I want.
Yeah. Hence why hence why YouTubers work from home.
That's what I
Don't
want.
encourage him 'cause he's gonna
diehard
sit
right there.
there like
True sci-fi
just 3
diehard.
weeks. Like, hey, I have a flying car.
That's what I want. Just like it's like there's drones, just make them bigger and then fly me. Like that's all I want. Dubai's got it. Why don't I have it in Toronto? I don't understand.
David, you heard about the 10 freeway going through LA?
No, what's that?
There, about a week ago, there was a fire explosion underneath one of the bridges under the 10.
Oh no.
So basically, 300,000. It was like a warehouse underneath the bridge. Last I heard, it was arson. They had some
Right.
hazmat that was illegally stored there.
Oh god.
The bridge is not safe. You know, it's a whole.
So they've closed the 10?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Seriously?
Yeah. So,
So
LA
what-
LA traffic is even worse now.
I think it was him. Yeah, I've seen all these, so. Are you bored? No.
Am I
Oh,
hearing?
good. It's not
Okay.
just me. As long as it's not
Alright.
just me hearing that.
Nope.
Okay, I'm sitting there like, wait, what the? All right, but
I was checking to see if somebody else jumped in.
dude, I'm like looking behind me through the camera. Like, nope,
Okay.
okay, no ghosts or anything else. All right.
I've been given my 5-minute warning.
Ah,
Mm.
well,
I'm
I'll tell
craving
you
Greek
what.
food now.
Right now, we're gonna switch over to our women makers panel.
Oh yeah, I should get out
And
of here.
so-
Let the ladies
No,
out.
no, no, you're fine. If you want to, well, what we've been doing is during the changeovers, current panel leaves, says hi, goodbye, and we bring in the next panel and everything else. So if you want to stop, say hi and everything else, I'm sure there'll be
Whatever
No.
you need. Whatever you
Good.
need. I'm just wanna support.
all
For
right.
4.5 more minutes.
Good. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Because I'm entirely yours for another 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
All right, so we're gonna bring them in right now, and you guys say hi and bye. All right, and
Yeah.
here we go.
In that order.
I
Yeah.
definitely want to say thank you to everyone here. And like, it's been actually really good to talk with other like design-minded, people in the makerspace. And you just see a lot of that prop making stuff out there. And you start feeling a little bit alone these days. But it's been really good talking to all you guys, and we should definitely network afterwards.
You're not
Definitely.
alone.
That was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
And you're not crazy.
Well, we are crazy.
not
We're
what the
just
voices tell
kind
me.
of crazy.
Yeah.
We're not crazy. We're the normal ones. Okay.
You're not alone
Everyone
in
else
this.
is just a bit.
All right, but
right.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for the Creative Makers panel. You guys have been excellent, and again, it's just a great meeting of the minds, and then letting you guys just talk to one another and then just see where it goes. You guys covered a lot of different areas. So thank you very much for your time, and
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank
very,
you for
very
letting me
much.
crash the party.
Hey, no problem.
Thank you.
You're always welcome, David.
Time.
Thanks to everyone. And thank you,
Can
Shane.
you send me some euro?
Go Canada. I came prepared.
Nice.